everyone to our June work session. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty.
Paulette O'Brien. John Green.
Here.
Scott Latham.
Here.
Brian Tobin. In the event of an emergency, visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobiles, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles.
Thank you. Dr. Moore, this is your meeting, so have at it. We'll have action at the end to go into exec.
So today's work session entails two parts. One is to look at our progress and plot to complete the development of a portrait of a graduate. Just to recap, we started this work last summer. We, as an administrative team, then as a board and an administrative team, put together the start of what a portrait of a graduate was. We then put that out to our faculty and staff, our students, our community, and we developed an outline for what we believe a graduate of Southold High School should be. We then decided we were going to, late in this year, have an art contest, and I did bring some drafts just for you guys to look at, so you can see kind of where we're at when it comes to that process. And then I would like to, us to discuss a little bit. I'll give some suggestions on how I think we should finish it out, and then by September of next year, we should have the whole thing finalized and put together and published and on our website. So my thought was, once we gather all of the submissions, we have numerous from the 6th grade and then some from the high school also. I thought we could put together an electronic form where we can put it into like a Google site. Our kids can then, in class, we'll pick a subject area. I'll have our principals pick a class that everyone social studies or science or English, whatever it may be, and they'll all have access to look and to vote on, say their top 2, top 3, and then this way we'll come out with a district-wide winner, and that's how we can select, the art piece for the graphic.
Does this then become part of our mission statement? Because many years ago, we spent a good couple of years working on the mission statement. Does this then become part of?
I would say that it's
asterisk to the mission statement?
I would say it's reflective of our mission statement.
Okay.
A portrait of a graduate has different pieces in it that you wouldn't really have in a mission statement, but I would say that they are very close aligned.
Because I saw the wording here, that's
Yeah.
what made me think of it. Okay.
We just pulled that off just as an example. This is one of our early examples. I just included in there so that you can see as we work through the progression. This one, I'm not even positive if this is the final one, but I'm pretty sure that this is one of the latter ones. We want our graduates to be well-rounded individuals, effective communicators, lifelong learners, and we want them to have strong values. Within those different pieces, there are, lifelong learners should be academically strong. We define that as academically strong for each individual. There's not a standard bar. Academically strong for me will be different than academically strong for you. And so on. We worked a lot on the wording. We have not worked much on the graphic piece of it. So that's what those two are. And I do think it very closely aligns with our commitments, what we're going to talk about with goals later, and also with our mission. All of it really is encapsulated into what we are doing. Questions or thoughts or?
Because I know we reviewed this, I guess it was with the administrators last summer, right?
Yes.
Under the lifelong learner, is this the page we're talking about right now?
Yeah, we can talk about any page right now. Sure. Yep.
I don't, because I'm technically challenged, go ahead, laugh, Eric, chuckle if you want. I don't know what technologically advanced is and how that would
Yeah, so
fall under a lifelong learner, and the pros and the cons of that, if you will?
So I guess technologically advanced would be very similar to academically strong. If you're a person that works in the tech field, technologically advanced would look very different than a person that doesn't work in the tech field. It really is kind of defined by each individual person. So if I need to learn this and use this amount of technology to be successful and effective in my life, then I have the ability to do that. Now, if I need to learn this much of it because of the position I'm in or the job I choose to take, and then it would look very, very different. So technologically advanced is very similar to academically strong. You know, if I'm somebody who is, pursuing a medical degree, academically strong might look very different. Then, if I'm somebody that's going to go into the trades and I have to learn how to utilize an engine manual to repair engines, I need to be academically strong enough to do that. They look very different for each individual person. Does that answer?
Kind of. I'm not crazy about the wording for some reason. I'm not sure why. I have to think about it.
So what about technologically knowledgeable?
That maybe sounds better because
Sufficient? Or
advanced makes it sound like you're going to be that super advanced techno person, whereas I think everyday technology skills are important.
It also might reflect the view of
Capable,
the adult that wrote it, because your average run-of-the-mill sixth grader knows more about technology than I do.
Oh, yeah, they're way more advanced than I,
So,
of course.
I wouldn't even, I could just get rid of it altogether. Just,
For us.
Because we look at it, wow, that's advanced, because our frame of reference is, you had typing, you didn't even have keyboarding, which you probably don't even have it, because the kids just learn it on their own, so.
And because it's under personal developmental skills, whereas you're referring to it kind of in the same vein as academically strong, because if you're in a field where you need that technology, that's where I just, that's okay. You guys are much smarter than I am about that.
I do think once we put this all together at the end, we should absolutely go through one more review and finalize the different things. And we may need, we talked about a while back, the fact that a number of these things could really be moved from one category to the next. And it's not that they belong in a different one, it's that they fit in more than
I do
one.
remember that.
And that does make it difficult. Like, I do think that if we don't give our students the opportunity to be technologically knowledgeable coming out of school now, we're not developing a graduate that is going to be successful.
Well, I like knowledgeable better than advanced.
Yeah. Like, do I believe that we, like you said, will be technologically advanced? No,
Yeah.
I never will be. I get a new phone.
How about comfortable with technology?
Something like that I like
A
better.
little softer.
Yeah. The first thing I do when I get a new phone is grab my kids. Because I know that I'm not going to be able to figure it out. And they get it like that. The same kids that can't clean their own room, in a
Well,
second.
I think it's like Scott said, it's kind of a given with kids nowadays, and I think certainly in Southold and what we offer them, starting in the younger grades.
Yep.
Yeah, technology now is almost like English. You don't have to say, well, we're gonna make sure they can
Yep.
pass an English class.
Right.
And it's necessary now. It really is. You want to do anything in this world as a 20-something-year-old, you need to be able to utilize technology. They tend to cater a little differently to us because they know they're not going to get that. So thoughts on the process, utilizing we've made very nice progress on this over the year, and it's been a stretched out process, which gave us the ability to really include a lot of different constituent groups. There isn't really a lot of different additional, I feel bad for the last groups. There wasn't much to add,
Yeah.
really, There was a little bit they added, but there really wasn't a lot to add. They came up with a lot of the same types of things. So we're hoping that we'll have our final products completed by the end of this school year, and then over the summer, we'll put together a virtual platform. And then in September, we wanted our kids to have an opportunity to vote on them. And then, we would bring it back as a final for a final edit, with our board, and then adoption.
Scott, you're way better at the grammar thing than I am. Under the strong values, there's something weird about resilient and then empathy. Should it be resilience
And then
and empathy? I don't know. I don't know. It seems like those words there are not,
resiliency or
or
resilient.
resiliency, or,
I think you're right.
I just think whatever they are, they should be all in the same.
No, it should probably be empathic or empathetic.
Right, yeah.
Resilience, fine.
But then what about
Is it resilient or resilience? Like you have the value of
Or
resilience.
what are we saying? You are inclusive and accepting, you are resilient, you have
Or you possess
empathy.
resilience.
That's a
I
little-
don't know.
That's a little kooky.
With a bullet point presentation like this, I would have it, either having empathy, or just make it empathic, empathetic, whatever
Okay.
the proper word is. But if you put, if you read each by saying, you are inclusive and accepting, you are resilient, you are
Oh, okay,
empathetic,
okay,
you
okay.
are,
So it would be,
or, so integrity would be.
you possess integrity?
You have integrity.
Haven't,
You have character. You
maybe
are
our English department has to get
Yeah.
involved in this, too,
giving this-
That makes sense,
right?
I graduated college, that's all the English I got, so I don't know how to talk too
Yeah.
good, but.
You can share with them.
Just to make it all in
Yeah.
the same,
In the-
and I don't want to pick this apart, because I think it's great. I know we had gone over it, but the more you look at something,
There's nothing left for you.
Now, I have a question. When you asked the sixth graders, before these, what was said to them before they created these
So what,
things?
yeah, so
Just
what,
curious.
what
And who said it to
the
them?
art teacher did.
All right, so the art teacher sat down with the sixth graders.
He sat down with the sixth graders and he explained what a definition of the portrait of a graduate is, based on what we wrote on the top of this page. Then he showed them, those examples I shared with you way back when, the 5 or 6 examples that were from different college schools around the country, high schools around the country, or districts around the country. He shared them with them, and then he told them that they can, they can go in any direction. It happens to be we have a couple of very creative art teachers here in both buildings.
I mean, this is extraordinary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was this just sort of copied from, I'm just,
that's a draft that he sent over, and then I had Jennifer was good enough to make a photocopy packet. for
and
each of
I'm-
you.
See, and I
you know,
love
they
this with
copied-
the-
if
with
it was
the-
sort of copied, that's,
Yeah.
but if, the fact that someone could come up with that at that level, I'm sure some of it was based on images they had seen, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to,
So you notice that the words,
an
yeah.
adult graphic designer would come in. I mean, the tassel, the pieces of the puzzle, I mean, that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And then just something like this as well, completely different.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't you love that they added fun in that puzzle piece?
Yeah, they did.
That's nowhere else that we have it, but they added fun.
This
I
too.
love
You
that.
know, This too.
And kind, and yeah.
And then, the words coming out of,
I know.
They did a great job.
Yeah, they
I'm really
did.
looking forward to seeing the
So,
final
there must have been a, because here's two that are a little alike. But I mean, this
there was
is,
a cap in one of the examples,
as someone who's not very creative, when I see things like this, I'm more of a robot. When I see things like this, it just amazes me because my brain doesn't work that way.
I love this one. That one gets me.
And that's cool. All of this. Sixth grade, wow. You can only imagine what some of the older kids are capable of.
It's really interesting to see. We didn't, they did it as like, they did it as a project in the 6th grade, so there were a number of them. There's more than this even. I just asked,
Sure, you just
asked
sample.
Jennifer to pick a dozen and
Yeah.
put them together. She's a lot more creative than I am, so. I asked
The
her.
garden and the
Yeah.
growth, yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty remarkable.
The high school, there weren't as many kids that chose to do it. They did it as a, optional. They taught them what it was. And they said, this is a contest we're going to be having district-wide. But we did have a couple, they told me, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was our commitments and goals. We worked a lot on the 6 commitments that you see on there. These are the ones that we adopted last year, they're right off our website. And I know that I had told you this last year, but I would like to make the progression from commitments to goals for next year. Mission statements are wonderful, and portraits are wonderful. I think they're all extremely useful in different ways. To me, I believe goals are necessary. Now, for me, the SMART goal format is the ideal format because it is a format that has built-in checks along the way. And at the end of the year, mid-year, end of the year, you can assess where you are with your goals, whether you have achieved them or not achieved them. So I gave you just a definition of what the SMART goal format is. It's very simple. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you look down the bottom, this is the top of a spreadsheet that I've used for SMART goals in the past. Very specific action or strategy that you're going to be utilizing, the clear implementation steps, who is responsible for it, the specific timeline, and the assessment, so that you can see, the goal is to have X number of students pass the high school English regents. Who's responsible, the administrators in the building, the teachers, so on and so forth. When will it be assessed? When we take the regents in June, so on and so forth. That's an example that I would not use as a goal, but it's a very easy example to explain them. For me, my suggestion is that we start with 3 goals our first time around. One would be an academic goal, one would be a financial goal, and one would be a social and emotional goal. I think that the development of a goal in each of those areas that align with our commitments, align with our mission statement, align with our portrait of a graduate, and then we go through the process of mid-year, assessing where we're at with our goals, and then in June, and this is a piece that is missed frequently, sometimes you don't achieve a goal. For instance, the pandemic year, there's probably a lot of goals that a lot of places didn't achieve in that year. A lot of stuff got thrown off to the side in what was going on that year. Not achieving a goal gives you the opportunity to set new goals and create new structures to try to achieve, or decide that was an unachievable goal that you may not, you may want to adjust where your goal set is. But I wanted to just bring this to the table because it's work that I would like us to do, and then eventually share with the community this summer. I know you guys have done goals in the past. I was able to find some of them. I didn't know what format you used. There wasn't really an explanation of the format with it. It was just the goals. But I wanted to hear your opinions on it and your thoughts and what has happened in the past and, how you felt about. These are suggestions. Ultimately, they're going to be Board of Ed goals. So if we're going to do them, that's got to be a decision that you guys make. And how we're going to do them and what they should be focused on also is a decision that you guys would have to make.
I do remember when there were goals. I remember when goals were tied into evaluations and raises for the administrators, actually. You were around then, John, I believe. I don't remember there being a specific format, to be honest.
Okay.
And that there's nothing there. Strange. When you talk about these 3, academic, financial, and social and emotional, financial's easy to do. That's a district-wide goal. When it comes to academics, is it a district-wide goal, or is it an elementary and a high school what are your thoughts on that?
So we have a goal-setting piece in our APPR plan. All of our teachers and our administrators are supposed to set goals annually. Our goal as a board would be a district-wide goal that would be overarching. All of their goals in certain areas would then stem off of ours, so ours may be focused on something like our graduation rate. Now, your graduation rate is a K-12 goal. Kids don't graduate high school if the elementary school didn't do their job correctly. Kids don't graduate high school if if the middle school, the junior high doesn't do their job correctly. It is like our graduation rate is owned by all of us in this school district, because it's a product of 13 years worth of work. It's not something that happens in 12th grade, so, to answer your question, they would be district-wide goals. Then, as a classroom teacher, when I create my goals that go into Frontline, mine would be more specific, but they should mirror what we choose as district goals, because we should all be working towards the same goals eventually.
I just don't know how comfortable I am with setting a goal for the district. That's not how I view my role as a board.
Yep.
I will certainly support the goals of the administration, but, and I'm open to conversation on developing a goal, but I don't think our role is to make sure you're running the district well, and by setting proper goals and coming up with them, that's how we do our job of oversight. I'm perfectly happy setting goals for the police department, because that's my area of expertise. I don't feel comfortable telling the district or telling you and the administration,
Yeah.
all right, I want graduation rates at 98%, because I don't know what's going on downstream that might create a hiccup.
So I would
I
say.
think maybe look at patterns.
Well,
over
we would look at all of
time,
that. Ours.
You can't look at anything in the
Yeah.
vacuum.
I have to be honest with you, graduation rates, to me, it's a good example to use as a district goal. In a district this size, graduation rates are a really tough goal, because
One or
if
two
one kid
fall.
And it
moves,
screws up your
And your
one
numbers
kid
get-
moves, your number goes up by 3%. One kid
Yeah.
comes into district, your number goes down by 3%. Like, it's
And
a very.
that you're making my point.
Yes.
I don't,
Yeah.
that's not something I would have
Yes.
thought about.
Yes. So for us, I would think that the process would be, you guys would have an oversight piece in the goal. Our administrators will do a lot of the work on what's appropriate goals based on the data we're collecting in district, the information that we have, and how it correlates to everything that's going on in New York State, because ultimately that's where we live and that's what we're measured by. And then we would bring it to you guys like we did last year with the commitments, and you guys would ask questions so you could understand it. You would ask why we want it, and that would more, and then adopting them, that would really be more of your part of a goal setter than saying, this is what I want the goal to be,
I agree with what you're saying. I don't
Yeah.
think it's up to us to set them. It could be up to us to approve goals
If I
that the
set the goal, it
administrators
would be
can.
every kid knows how to do CPR, they can change a tire, and they can speak Spanish.
And they're registered to vote if they're 18, and they can change a tire, and they
Exactly.
can sign it. Yeah, we have different
Yeah.
things. But they have to be concrete goals, and I think that if any of us thought that there was something really bad going on here, we would probably be jumping out here with goals that we think are important. I think there's always room for improvement, that's all
Oh,
I'm gonna say.
absolutely. I'm not-
And that's just really
I'm
kind
not
of it.
poo-pooing the process.
No, I agree.
My role in
Scott, I
it.
don't think we
Yeah.
should be part of the
Absolutely.
goal-setting process. We
Right.
should review the goals that you set,
Then adopt
Yep.
them.
and
Agreed.
then, question you on them if we
Sure.
agree or
Right,
disagree,
right.
iron out the
Yep. Yeah.
process, and then you run it.
Yeah. I mean, we could come up with some silly stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
Like Scott said, change the tire.
Yeah,
Do we really want to make that a goal in a district?
that'd be so, change the oil on the tire.
I think that's social emotional, because the whole group of kids can get out and change the tire while my daughter's crying because she can't remember how to do it.
As long as that kid helps her with it, then
Yes.
we've achieved something there.
Part of the portrait has been achieved.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's very clear to me. And we'll set that up. That was all I had for the work session.
Good stuff. So we need a motion to go into executive session. All in favor? Aye.